find their way down, but try to position her so their feet are down on the footboard. If you have somebody that has a weight bearing restriction, you could put like let's just she has a weight bearing restriction on this leg. We could put a block on underneath this leg, build it up, an inch or two, so that this leg would just be kind of hanging out. But you have to make sure that she stays center so that she doesn't start wavering on that. The other thing that you might have to do on the tilt table is just accommodate a plantar flexion contracture, so maybe wedge their feet or something like that. It's not real effective to stretch somebody that has a plantar flexion contracture if they're just like standing up here on their toes, and you think that if you just have them weight bear that it's going to come down. You really need that weight bearing on their heels. You need to meet them where they're at, in their shoes and on their standing tilt tables. So meet them where they're at, so they might be kind of plantar flex, they might be a little bit Barbie feet, but let them weight bear on their heels, and then you'll get somewhere with bringing their feet down. And the other thing, if I didn't really stress this when we were talking about Ptrs, if you're doing this to stretch somebody's plantar flexion contracture, make sure that you're first correcting in the medial lateral plane, because you're not going to make any headway with achieving dorsiflexion if you're letting them, usually they're inverted. So you've got to correct that first. So you might start with just correcting that, and then work on them doing dorsiflexion. Okay. So we're going to put the straps on. I've got 3 straps here. I'm going to put one right at and above her knees. And the straps are around the frame on the bed, like that, and then just bringing the both up to the front. Okay, and then the next one right at our hips. You can put your hand, out. Yeah, and this is her chest strap. And you guys, don't really have to have the chest strap, and this is what just makes me go bonkers. I feel very claustrophobic. So this was the gate belt one, so the bottom of it goes around both frames, and then it straps on the front, like that. The people that you have to use, if you have good trunk control, you wouldn't have to do the chest strap. But if somebody doesn't have good strength, or if you're worried about them getting low blood pressure, hypotensive, you need that chest strap. The other people that you need that chest strap for is, we don't do it that much anymore, but some people that have a spinal cord injury still do therapeutic standing, just for that weight bearing and bone density. If you put somebody with a spinal cord injury on this, that has an injury at the level that they don't have back sensors and abdominals, they'll jack them. They also don't have hip flexors, so don't underestimate what hip flexors do for your trunk control, since it attaches on your pelvis. So what they'll do is, if they lose their balance forward like that, they don't have back and abdominal muscles to counteract that, and they'll get stuff like this, and they can't get up from them. Even though they might have full, arm strength, they don't have trunk strength. You good?
Yep.
Looking forward to this? Mm-hmm. So this is actually a test in cardiovascular labs for postural hypotension. So what they do is they just do this. They just put somebody on a tilt table. They take the resting blood pressure, and they see if, as you bring them upright, if their blood pressure drops. I think it's a really crappy test, quite honestly, because my blood pressure goes up when you do this to me because it's freaky. But I would say if you're getting somebody up and you don't know what their upright tolerance is, always take a supine blood pressure at this point, and be prepared to monitor their blood pressure in increments as you're coming up. I would recommend bringing someone up slowly, like 30 to 40 degrees at a time, kind of let them acclimate to that, take their blood pressure, and then bring them up again. So usually we do it in about 3 kind of phases of bringing them up. Going back down, you can do a little quicker, but still kind of give them a break about halfway down. And so be prepared to take blood pressures and just be talking to your patient, saying, how you feeling? Are you feeling lightheaded or anything? So I'm going to start bringing you up, and you can see I've got this very high-tech inclinometer over here. Isn't that cool? This is so fun to describe. It is loud. Yeah, kind of Frankenstein. So that's 30. So lights and flickering.
I feel like I'm getting really close to that. You're really far from it still.
Yeah.
Yeah, so So she's already thinking, you good?
Yeah.
So I would have taken her resting blood pressure, so 120 over 80, I bring her up a little bit, maybe 110 over 70. Feeling okay? Not dizzy? I can pass out. Hang on here for a minute. Move a little bit further. Just hope the opposite. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't do head down. Okay, so then we'll go up a little bit further. This is where you guys can guess what the, you guys can play the guess the angle. All right, how are you feeling? Take your blood pressure again. Still 110 over 70. If someone's going to get partial hypotension, they're going to get it right away. You know, they're going to, as soon as you come up, they're going to vasodilating. They're not getting a blood return, and they're going to be symptomatic right away. Once you kind of acclimate to that, it can be reversible. If it's not reversible, if it's really severe and the patient's really symptomatic, just put them back in.
Supposed to go.
We can strap them in if you'd like. This is where it feels freaky because your feet are all the way back against the table. And so, about right here, do you feel like you're all the way upright?
Yeah.
You're not. Doesn't it feel like you're tipping over?
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels freaky. So.
She looks scared. It's weird.
It seems very dependent too, right? So kind of springboarding from last week's discussion, like what's the therapeutic point, right? Your tech can do this, the nurse can do this. So at this point, you're working on prolonged stretch. So you want to make sure that you're kind of ensuring that you've got the ankle position that you want for that stretch. You can also have the person just work on some quad sets while they're here. So once you put your knee back in, so it's a little bit easier to facilitate some of those exercises, isometric exercises when someone's standing. So you can work on quad sets, work on glute sets, work on some trunk extension isometrics while you're here. You're just hanging out just to try to work on prolonged stretch. You can set them up here with a table and make them play blackjack with the speech therapist for a while, whatever. Kind of, all right. It does feel weird, and patients do usually feel better if you can get like a table or something, like a bedside table or something in front of it. All right, that's the tilt table.